"Mommy's in the freezer. The bad man put her there." The words came from a trembling 5-year-old girl standing in the foyer of the Crimson Rose nightclub at 3 in the morning. Her blonde pigtails disheveled, one shoe missing, tears streaming down her flour-dusted cheeks. Marcus Romano looked up from the ledger he'd been reviewing, his jaw tightening as he took in the small intruder. The child had somehow bypassed his security, wandered through the back entrance during a delivery, and now stood before him in the private office where he conducted business that would make most men's blood run cold. "What did you say?" His voice was low, controlled, but something in his chest constricted at the sight of her terrified face. "My mommy, she went to work at the bakery, and she didn't come home, and I walked there because I was scared, and I saw through the window, and the bad man, he pushed her, and she fell, and then he dragged her to the big freezer in the back, and I don't know what to do." The words tumbled out in a breathless rush, her small body shaking. Marcus stood, his 6'3" frame unfolding from behind the mahogany desk. His tailored black suit barely concealed the weapons he carried, and the tattoos crawling up his neck were visible above his collar. A snake coiled around a dagger, the mark of the Romano family. At 32, he'd built an empire on fear and loyalty, and children didn't typically factor into his world. But something about this little girl's genuine terror struck a chord he'd thought long dead. "What's your name?" "Lily." She hiccuped, wiping her nose with the back of her hand. "Lily Morgan. My mommy is Sophie. Sophie Morgan. She works at Sweet Morning Bakery on Delancey Street. Please, mister, she can't breathe in there. It's too cold. She'll die." Marcus moved around the desk, his mind already calculating. Sweet Morning Bakery. He knew it. Small operation, family-owned, paid their protection money on time without complaint. The owner was old man Castellano's nephew, Mario. Not the brightest, but generally harmless. "How long ago did you see this?" "I don't know. I ran here because I saw the pretty lights, and there were people outside, and I thought someone could help." Fresh tears spilled over. "Please. Mommy said if I'm ever in trouble, find someone with a kind face. You have sad eyes. Sad people understand hurt." "Christ." Marcus grabbed his phone, barking orders to his second-in-command. "Vincent, get the car, now, and bring Carlo and James. We're going to Sweet Morning Bakery, on Delancey." He crouched down to Lily's eye level, his harsh features softening slightly. "I'm going to help your mommy, but you need to stay here where it's safe. My friend Natasha will—" "No!" Lily grabbed his hand with both of hers, her grip surprisingly strong. "I have to come. I have to show you. There's a back way in, and the bad man doesn't know about it. Mommy showed me. Please, mister. I can't stay here alone. I can't." Every instinct told him to leave the child behind, to handle this the way he handled everything, with brutal efficiency and no witnesses. But those wide, terrified eyes, and the desperate grip of her small fingers against his calloused palm, made him do something he'd never done before. He nodded. "Stay close to me. Don't let go of my hand. And when I tell you to hide, you hide. Understood?" "Yes, sir." Within 3 minutes, they were in his black Mercedes, Vincent at the wheel, speeding through the empty pre-dawn streets. Lily sat pressed against Marcus's side, still clutching his hand, directing them through turns with remarkable clarity for someone so young and frightened. "There, that's it." She pointed to a small storefront, darkened now, with Sweet Morning Bakery painted in cheerful yellow letters across the window. Marcus assessed the situation with professional precision. No lights on inside. One car parked in the alley, a beat-up sedan he didn't recognize. The back door slightly ajar. "Vincent, cover the front. Carlo, James, with me. Lily, show me this back entrance." The little girl led them around to an alcove he would have missed entirely, partially hidden by industrial dumpsters. A small access panel, the kind used for deliveries, sat low to the ground. "Mommy uses it sometimes when she forgets her keys. It goes to the storage room." Marcus looked at his men, then back at the child. "Lily, I need you to wait here with Vincent. I promise I'll bring your mommy back." For a moment he thought she'd argue again, but something in his tone must have convinced her. She nodded, releasing his hand with obvious reluctance. The panel was easy enough to force open. Marcus slid through first, his weapon drawn, his senses on high alert. The storage room smelled of flour and yeast and something else. Fresh blood. Not much, but enough to make his jaw clench. Voices drifted from the front of the bakery. One male, angry, muttering to himself. Stupid woman. Had to go poking around where she didn't belong. Had to see the shipment. Couldn't just mind her own business. Marcus moved silently through the storage area, Carlo and James flanking him. The layout became clear. Industrial ovens, prep stations, and along the far wall, a walk-in freezer. The heavy door was closed, a chair wedged under the handle. The rage that filled Marcus was cold and precise, the kind that made him dangerous. Someone had imprisoned a woman, possibly already dead, in a freezer because she'd witnessed something. In his territory, at a business under his protection. This wouldn't stand. He motioned to Carlo, who moved toward the freezer while Marcus advanced on the main bakery area. The man came into view, late 40s, balding, heavy-set, wearing a blood-stained apron. Not Mario. Marcus didn't recognize him, but that hardly mattered now. The man was loading plastic-wrapped packages into a duffel bag, muttering and sweating despite the cool air. Problem? Marcus's voice cut through the space like a blade. The man spun, his face draining of color, as he recognized exactly who stood before him. Everyone in this part of the city knew Marcus Romano by sight. Mr. Romano, I was just... There's a woman in that freezer. She saw the shipment. I couldn't let her talk. You couldn't? Marcus advanced, each step measured, his weapon still trained on the man. You run drugs through a bakery in my territory without permission. You assault a woman under my protection. You leave her to die in a freezer. And you think there's any explanation that saves you? The man's eyes darted toward the back exit, calculating his chances. Don't. Marcus's tone was almost bored, but the threat was unmistakable. Behind him, he heard the scrape of the chair being removed, the heavy freezer door opening. Carlo's voice, urgent. Boss, she's alive. Barely. Something in Marcus's chest unclenched slightly, but his attention never wavered from the man before him. Who do you work for? I can't. If I tell you, they'll kill me. And if you don't tell me, I'll kill you. Slowly. Your choice, but decide quickly. There's a 5-year-old girl outside who needs her mother, and you're wasting my time. The man crumbled. Salvatore. Sal Marchetti. He's using small businesses to move product. Places you wouldn't look. He said Sweet Morning was perfect because the nephew's an idiot, and you'd never suspect family operations. Salvatore Marchetti, a mid-level dealer who'd been getting too ambitious lately. Marcus filed that information away for later handling. James, call Dr. Reeves. Tell him we need him at my penthouse immediately. Carlo, is she conscious? In and out. She's hypothermic, boss. We need to move her, now. Marcus turned his attention back to the man who'd caused all this. You have 10 seconds to get out of my city. If I see your face again, if I hear your name anywhere in the state, I'll finish what should have happened tonight. Run. The man didn't need to be told twice. He bolted for the front door, leaving his duffel bag and his dignity behind. Marcus could have killed him. Part of him wanted to. But there was a child outside who'd already been traumatized enough, and a woman who needed immediate medical attention. His vengeance could wait. He moved to the freezer. The woman inside was curled on the floor, her lips blue, her skin pale as death. But she was breathing, barely. She wore flour-dusted jeans and a blue sweater, her dark blonde hair pulled back in a practical bun that had come partially loose. Even in this state, he could see she was beautiful. Delicate features, probably mid-20s, with an underlying strength in the set of her jaw. Sophie Morgan? He kept his voice gentle despite the urgency thrumming through him. Her eyelids fluttered. Lily, she whispered. My daughter, I need... She's safe. She came to me for help. Very brave girl. Tears leaked from Sophie's closed eyes. Thank God. Thank God. Marcus didn't hesitate. He scooped her into his arms, her body frighteningly cold against his chest, and carried her through the bakery. She was light, too light, and trembling violently. "Stay with me, Sophie. Your daughter needs you. Stay with me." "Cold," she murmured. "So cold." "I know. We're getting you warm. Just hold on." When he emerged from the alley with Sophie in his arms, Lily screamed and tried to run to them, but Vincent caught her gently. "Easy, little one. Your mommy needs special care right now, but Mr. Romano's got her." Marcus met Lily's terrified gaze over Sophie's head. "She's alive, Lily. I promised I'd bring her back, and I did. But she's very cold and very sick, so we need to take her somewhere she can get better. Do you trust me?" Lily nodded frantically. "Is she going to die?" "Not if I have anything to say about it. Get in the car." The drive to his penthouse was tense. Marcus kept Sophie cradled against him, trying to warm her with his body heat, while Lily pressed against his other side, her small hand gripping her mother's limp fingers. "Mommy, wake up. Please wake up." Sophie's eyes opened briefly. "Baby, I'm okay. Mommy's okay." But she wasn't okay, not by a long shot. Marcus could feel the dangerous cold of her skin, see the sluggish way she moved. Hypothermia was no joke, and she'd been in that freezer for who knew how long. Dr. Reeves was waiting when they arrived, having set up a temporary medical station in Marcus's master bedroom. The elderly physician had been patching up Marcus and his men for 15 years, asking no questions and keeping all secrets. "Get her on the bed. Young lady, I'll need you to wait outside while I examine your mother." "No!" Lily's protest was immediate and fierce. "I stay with Mommy." Sophie stirred, her voice barely audible. "It's okay, Lily Bear. Go with the nice man. Mommy will be right here when you're done being brave." Marcus made a decision that surprised even himself. "Lily can stay in the sitting room where she can see her mother through the doorway. I'll stay with her." For the next hour, Marcus Romano, a man who'd ordered executions, orchestrated territorial wars, and built an empire on violence, sat on a leather sofa with a 5-year-old girl sleeping fitfully against his side, her flour-dusted face pressed against his expensive suit jacket, her hand still clutching his. Dr. Reeves worked efficiently, warming Sophie slowly, treating her for hypothermia and the head wound she'd sustained when she'd been struck. The prognosis was cautiously optimistic. She'd been in the freezer for approximately 3 hours, long enough to be life-threatening, but not quite long enough to cause permanent damage, assuming she recovered properly over the next several days. "She'll need monitoring," Dr. Reeves said quietly, washing his hands at the ensuite sink. "Hypothermia can have delayed effects, and that head wound needs watching for concussion symptoms. She shouldn't be alone." "She won't be," Marcus heard himself say. The doctor's eyebrows rose, but he was wise enough not to comment. "I'll check on her again tomorrow morning. Keep her warm, hydrated, and resting. If anything changes, confusion, loss of consciousness, irregular heartbeat, call me immediately." After the doctor left, Marcus found himself in an unfamiliar position. Dawn was breaking over the city, painting his floor-to-ceiling windows in shades of pink and gold. In his bed lay an unconscious woman he'd met 2 hours ago. On his couch, a child who'd walked into his nightclub and turned his meticulously controlled world upside down. He should call someone. Child services. A family member. Anyone who could take this problem off his hands. Instead, he gently lifted Lily and carried her to one of his guest rooms, tucking her into bed, still wearing her mismatched shoes and flour-stained dress. She murmured in her sleep, "Thank you, mister," with sad eyes. And his chest constricted again. When he returned to the master bedroom, Sophie was awake, her eyes tracking his movement with wary alertness, despite her obvious exhaustion. "Where's Lily?" Her voice was rough, strained. "Guest room, sleeping. She's safe." "Who are you?" The question was direct, and he respected that. "Marcus Romano." Recognition flickered across her face, followed by fear. Yes." She tried to sit up, grimaced, and fell back against the pillows. "I need to take my daughter and leave. I need to—" "You need to rest. The man who locked you in that freezer is gone. The operation he was running is being dismantled as we speak. You and Lily are under my protection now." "I didn't ask for your protection." "No, your daughter did." That stopped her. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. She walked to find you, in the middle of the night. She's 5 years old. She could have been. She's very brave. Like her mother, I suspect. Sophie looked away, her jaw trembling. I went back to the bakery because I'd forgotten my phone. I heard noises in the storage room, and I should have just left. Should have minded my own business, but I looked and I saw him loading drugs into packages meant for morning deliveries, and he saw me and she broke off, touching the side of her head gingerly. He hit me with something. A rolling pin, maybe. When I woke up, I was in the freezer and I couldn't get out, and all I could think about was Lily waking up alone and not knowing where I was. She woke up and came to find you. She's all I have. Her father left when she was 6 months old. My parents are gone. I work 2 jobs to keep us afloat, and I try so hard to be everything she needs, but The tears spilled over. I almost died tonight, and she would have been alone. Marcus did something else that surprised him. He sat on the edge of the bed and took Sophie's hand in his, carefully, gently, giving her every opportunity to pull away. She didn't. You didn't die. You're here. She's here. And I give you my word that neither of you will be in danger from this situation again. Why do you care? You don't know us. Your daughter said I have sad eyes. Said sad people understand hurt. He found himself being more honest than he'd been with anyone in years. She wasn't wrong. I know what it's like to be alone and afraid. I know what it's like to need help that doesn't come. And I know what it's like to be 5 years old and terrified. Sophie studied his face, searching for something. Whatever she found seemed to satisfy her because she didn't let go of his hand. Thank you for saving me, for protecting Lily. Rest now. We'll figure out the details later. But Sophie's eyes were already drifting closed, exhaustion and medication pulling her under. Marcus stayed where he was, his hand still holding hers, watching the sun fully rise over his city and wondering what the hell he'd just gotten himself into. He'd meant what he said about protection. The moment Lily had walked into his club, the moment he'd carried Sophie out of that freezer, they'd become his responsibility in a way that transcended business or territory. It was personal now, and Marcus Romano always protected what was his. The next few days passed in a blur of unusual domesticity. Sophie recovered slowly, her strength returning in increments. Lily adapted to the penthouse with remarkable resilience, though she had nightmares that had her crying out for her mother. The first time it happened, Marcus was in his office, reviewing reports on Salvatore Marchetti's operations. Lily's scream brought him running. He found her tangled in blankets, sobbing for Sophie, who was still too weak to get out of bed quickly. Marcus made a decision in that moment that would have shocked anyone who knew him. He scooped Lily up and carried her to his master bedroom, settling her next to her mother. She had a nightmare, he explained to Sophie's questioning look. I'm sorry. She hasn't. This has been so traumatic for her. Don't apologize. He pulled a chair close to the bed, positioning himself where Lily could see him. Lily, look at me. You're safe here. Your mother is safe. The bad man is gone, and he's never coming back. Do you believe me? Lily hiccuped, nodding slowly. You promised you'd save Mommy, and you did. That's right. And I keep my promises. So when I promise that you're both safe now, you can believe that too. Will you stay? Until I fall asleep? He glanced at Sophie, who looked torn between gratitude and concern. I'll stay. Marcus Romano, who'd never spent a night with a woman that didn't involve sex or violence, who'd built walls around himself so thick no emotion could penetrate, sat in a chair next to his bed and watched a 5-year-old girl fall asleep while her mother looked on with an expression he couldn't quite read. When Lily's breathing evened out, Sophie spoke softly. You're good with her. I'm not good with anyone. That's not what I'm seeing. He met her gaze, struck again by how beautiful she was. Even exhausted and recovering, there was something luminous about Sophie Morgan. You should be afraid of me. People usually are. Should I be? Afraid of you? The question was direct, and he respected that about her. Respected the courage it took to ask. Not unless you cross me. Not unless you threaten what's mine. And what's yours, Mr. Romano? The air between them shifted, charged with something he wasn't ready to name. Marcus. Call me Marcus. And to answer your question, right now, in this moment, you and Lily are under my protection. That makes you mine in the only way that matters in my world. Sophie's cheeks flushed, but she held his gaze. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I can give you right now. She was quiet for a long moment, her fingers absently stroking Lily's hair. What happens when I'm recovered? When it's safe for us to leave? The thought of them leaving sent an unexpected jolt through his chest. Where would you go? Back to our apartment, back to work, back to our lives. The bakery is closed pending investigation. Your apartment? He paused, knowing this would be difficult. I sent people to check on it. It's not safe. Marchetti's people know who you are now. They know you can identify them. Fear flickered across her face. So, what are you saying? I'm saying you can't go back to the life you had. Not yet. Maybe not ever, depending on how this situation develops. So we're prisoners? You're protected. There's a difference. Is there? Her voice was sharp despite her weakness. You're telling me I can't leave, can't go home, can't work. That sounds like a prison to me, no matter how nice the accommodations. Marcus stood, frustration warring with an unfamiliar desire to make her understand. I'm telling you that there are people who want you dead because of what you saw. I'm telling you that your daughter already lost you once this week, and I'll be damned if I let her lose you permanently. I'm telling you that whether you like it or not, you're in my world now, and in my world, protection isn't optional. I didn't ask for this. No, you asked to work an honest job and live a quiet life, and some piece of trash decided your life didn't matter as much as his drug operation. But here we are, and I'm offering you a way to stay alive and keep your daughter safe. So you can be angry at me all you want, Sophie, but don't pretend I'm the villain in this story. She stared at him, her eyes bright with unshed tears. I'm not good at accepting help. I noticed. I've been on my own with Lily for so long. I've had to be strong, had to be everything for her, and now you're telling me I can't even keep us safe by myself. Marcus moved back to the chair, his voice gentler now. Being strong doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means knowing when to accept help from people who can provide it. And you can provide it? Protection? I can provide everything you need. The weight of those words hung between them. Sophie broke eye contact first, looking down at her sleeping daughter. I need to think about what's best for Lily. Think about this. She's sleeping peacefully for the first time since the incident. She's eating regular meals. She's safe. Can you say the same about what you could provide her if you leave? It was harsh, but it was true. Sophie's face crumpled slightly, and Marcus felt like he'd kicked a puppy. That was unfair, he admitted. You're a good mother. The best, from what I've seen. But you're in a situation that requires resources you don't have. Let me provide them. Not because you're weak, but because I can. What do you want in return? There it was, the question he'd been waiting for. Because nobody did anything for free in his world, and Sophie was smart enough to know it. I want you to be safe, both of you. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have right now. Sophie met his eyes again, searching. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. Over the following week, a routine developed. Sophie grew stronger each day, moving from the bed to the sitting room, eventually well enough to explore the penthouse with Lily. Marcus found himself adjusting his schedule to be home more, telling himself it was just to ensure their safety. But it was more than that. He'd catch himself listening for Lily's laughter, looking forward to dinner conversations with Sophie, who challenged him in ways no one else dared. Watching them interact, the easy affection, the inside jokes, the pure love between mother and daughter, and feeling something in his chest that he'd thought long dead. Sophie was different from any woman he'd known. She didn't want anything from him except safety for her child. She didn't preen or flirt or try to leverage his attraction to her, and he was attracted, increasingly and inconveniently so. She was direct, honest, and fiercely protective of Lily. She was also stubborn as hell. "I need to work," she announced one morning over breakfast. "I have skills. I can't just sit here being supported like some kind of guest," Marcus supplied, amused despite himself. "Employee? Protected witness?" "Kept woman," Sophie finished, her cheeks flushing. Lily looked up from her pancakes, confused. "What's a kept woman?" "Nothing, baby. Grown-up talk." Marcus leaned back in his chair, studying Sophie. "If you want to work, work. I own several legitimate businesses that could use someone with your skills. You said you worked 2 jobs before. Doing what?" "Bakery during the day, bookkeeping at night for a small accounting firm." "You're good with numbers?" "Very good. I was studying accounting in college before I got pregnant and had to drop out." An idea was forming. "I need someone to handle the books for my legitimate operations. The clubs, the restaurants, the real estate holdings. Someone I can trust, someone detail-oriented. Interested?" Sophie's eyes narrowed. "Just the legitimate operations?" "Just those. You'd have no contact with anything illegal. Full salary, benefits, flexible hours so you can be there for Lily. And if I say no, then you say no. But you just said you want to work." She was quiet for a long moment, clearly torn between pride and practicality. Finally, she nodded. "Fine, but I'm paying you rent for staying here. Not necessary. Not negotiable. If I'm working for you and living here, I pay rent. Otherwise, it's a kept woman situation," he finished, understanding. "Fine, we'll work out a reasonable arrangement." The satisfaction on her face was worth the concession. As Sophie grew stronger and more confident, Marcus found himself increasingly drawn to her. It wasn't just her beauty, though God knew she was stunning. It was her strength, her intelligence, the way she moved through his world without being intimidated by it. The way she called him on his garbage when he tried to be controlling, but also saw through his harsh exterior to whatever it was that Lily had recognized, the sadness, the loneliness. But he was also acutely aware of the power imbalance. She was dependent on him for safety, for housing, for employment. Any move he made would be complicated by that reality, and Marcus refused to be the kind of man who took advantage, so he kept his distance, even as that distance became increasingly painful. The situation came to a head 2 weeks after the incident. Marcus was working late in his home office when he heard raised voices from the living area. He moved quickly, hand automatically going to his weapon, until he recognized the voices, Sophie and Vincent. "You can't just keep us here indefinitely," Sophie was saying, her voice tight with frustration. "Boss's orders, Mrs. Morgan. For your safety. I'm not Mrs. Anything, and I don't need a babysitter to go to the park with my daughter." Marcus stepped into the room. "What's going on?" Sophie whirled on him. "Your man won't let me take Lily to the park. We've been cooped up for 2 weeks, and she needs fresh air and normalcy, and—" "It's not safe," Vincent interjected. "We got word that Marchetti's still looking for her. He knows she can identify his people." Sophie's face paled, but her jaw set stubbornly. "So what? We just stay locked up forever?" "Until the situation is resolved," Marcus said quietly. "And when will that be? When you decide? When you deem us safe enough to have lives again? When I know you won't be killed the moment you step outside. This isn't living. Lily needs her mother alive." The words echoed in the suddenly silent room. Sophie stared at him, her eyes bright with unshed tears and fury, and something else he couldn't name. "Vincent, give us the room," Marcus said without breaking eye contact with Sophie. After the door closed, Sophie spoke first. "You can't keep us in a gilded cage." "I'm trying to keep you breathing." "At what cost? Lily's asking when we can go home, when she can see her friends, when things will go back to normal. What am I supposed to tell her?" "Tell her the truth, that her mother saw something dangerous, and bad people want to hurt her because of it, but she has someone protecting her until those bad people are dealt with. And how long will that take?" Marcus ran a hand through his hair, frustration, and something deeper warring inside him. Marchetti's proving difficult to pin down. He knows I'm looking for him, so he's gone to ground. But I have people searching, and when I find him... When you find him what? You'll kill him? Yes. The bald honesty of it seemed to shock her. Just like that? Just like that. He threatened what's mine. There's only one response to that in my world. We're not yours, Marcus. But her voice was softer now, uncertain. He moved closer, drawn by something he couldn't fight anymore. Aren't you? You're in my home, under my protection, working for me. Your daughter falls asleep holding my hand when she has nightmares. You have dinner with me every night and challenge me on everything and make me feel things I haven't felt in years. If that's not mine, Sophie, then I don't know what is. Her breath caught. Don't do this. Do what? Make this complicated. Make this about us. Whatever us might be. This is about safety, about protection, about the fact that I can't stop thinking about you, Marcus interrupted, taking another step closer. About the fact that you walk into a room and I'm aware of nothing else. About the fact that for 2 weeks I've been trying to keep my distance because you're vulnerable and dependent on me, and I won't be the kind of man who takes advantage of that. But you're standing here accusing me of imprisoning you when all I'm trying to do is keep you alive because the thought of anything happening to you makes me want to burn this entire city to the ground. Sophie stared at him, her chest rising and falling rapidly. You can't. We can't. Give me one good reason why not. Because I work for you. Because I live in your house. Because my daughter's safety depends on you. Because the power dynamic is all wrong, and I can't think clearly when you're looking at me like that. Like what? Like you want to... She broke off, her cheeks flushing. Marcus took one more step, close enough to touch now, but carefully keeping his hands to himself. Like I want to kiss you? Like I want to hold you? Like I want to make you mine in every way that matters? Because I do, Sophie. I want all of that and more. But not until you're ready. Not until you choose it freely, without any pressure or obligation. So I'll wait. And I'll keep you safe while I'm waiting. And if you decide you don't want this, want me, then I'll still keep you safe. Because that's what you do for people you... He stopped himself before finishing that sentence. People you what? She whispered. People you care about. The admission hung between them, weighted with everything unsaid. Sophie reached up, her hand trembling slightly, and touched his face. Just her fingertips against his jaw, the gentlest of contacts. I'm terrified, she admitted. Of this. Of you. Of what I'm feeling. What are you feeling? Like I'm standing on the edge of something huge, and if I jump, everything changes. Like maybe I want to jump anyway. Like maybe I've been wanting to jump since you carried me out of that freezer, and I saw your face and thought, this is someone who understands. Marcus turned his head slightly, just enough to press a kiss to her palm. You don't have to jump alone. I'm right here. You're a dangerous man, Marcus Romano. I am. You've probably done terrible things. I have. You're exactly the kind of man I should stay away from. You should. But I can't stop thinking about you either. His control snapped. Marcus framed her face with both hands, giving her every opportunity to pull away, to say no, to stop this. When she didn't, when she swayed toward him instead, he closed the distance and kissed her. It was gentle at first, reverent, a question and an answer all at once. Sophie made a small sound, and then she was kissing him back, her hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer. The kiss deepened, years of loneliness and hunger pouring from both of them into this connection. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Marcus rested his forehead against hers. I need you to understand something, he said quietly. If we do this, if we go down this road, I'm all in. I don't do casual. I don't do halfway. You and Lily become mine in every way that matters, and I protect what's mine with everything I have. That's intense. I'm an intense person. Sophie laughed shakily. I noticed. She pulled back enough to meet his eyes. I need you to understand something, too. I come with a 5-year-old daughter who will always be my first priority. I have baggage and trust issues and a very inconvenient sense of morality that's probably going to clash with your world. I'm not easy. I don't want easy. And I need time. This is all happening so fast, and I need to be sure, need to know this is real, and not just some trauma response or Stockholm Syndrome or... Marcus kissed her again, softer this time. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere, and neither are you until it's safe. We have time. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. The next morning, Vincent burst into the penthouse with news. We found Marchetti. He's holed up in a warehouse in Red Hook with about 15 of his men. Word is he's planning something big, either a move against our territory or an exit strategy. Marcus's expression hardened instantly. The tender man from the previous night replaced by the ruthless boss everyone feared. Assemble the team, full tactical gear. I want this ended today. Marcus, wait. Sophie appeared from the kitchen, Lily at her side. What's happening? He looked at her, then at Lily, his jaw tight. I'm handling the situation we discussed. It ends today. You're going after him. It wasn't a question. Yes. Is it dangerous? Marcus moved to crouch in front of Lily first. Hey, little one, I need to go take care of some business. Vincent and Carlo and James will be here to keep you and your mom safe, okay? Lily's eyes were wide. Are you going to fight the bad man? I'm going to make sure the bad man can never hurt anyone again. But what if he hurts you? The innocent question hit harder than any bullet. Marcus glanced up at Sophie, who was watching with barely concealed fear. I'm very good at what I do, Lily. I'll be fine. Promise? He shouldn't promise. In his line of work, you never promised you'd come back because sometimes you didn't. But looking at Lily's worried face and Sophie's pale complexion, he found himself saying, I promise. Standing, he pulled Sophie aside, his voice low. I need you to stay here. No matter what you hear, no matter what happens, you stay inside with Lily until I come back or Vincent gives you the all clear. Marcus. He kissed her, quick and hard and desperate. I'm coming back to you, both of you. Believe that. I'm afraid. That's okay. Fear keeps us careful. He cupped her face. But don't doubt me, Sophie. I've built an empire by being smarter and more ruthless than everyone else. This ends today, and then you're free. Truly free. Free to choose this life or walk away from it. Free to choose me or not. What if I've already chosen? His heart stuttered. Then you'll tell me when I get back. The operation took 4 hours from start to finish. Marcus led his team with the cold precision that had made him legendary in the underworld. They hit the warehouse at noon, overwhelming Marchetti's forces with superior numbers and tactics. But Marchetti was smarter than Marcus had given him credit for. The moment the assault began, he sent a splinter team with a single mission: grab Sophie Morgan and use her as leverage. They got past the building security. They got past the first layer of protection. They made it all the way to the penthouse door before Vincent and Carlo intercepted them. The gunfight was brief and brutal. Sophie heard it all: the shouting, the shots, Lily's screams. She did what Marcus had told her to do, grabbed Lily and barricaded them in the master bathroom, the most defensible position in the penthouse. Mommy, I'm scared. I know, baby, I know, but we're okay. We're safe. She said it like a prayer, like if she repeated it enough times it would be true. The doorknob rattled. Once. Twice. Then Vincent's voice. Mrs. Morgan, it's safe. You can come out. She didn't move, didn't trust it. Sophie. That was Carlo. Boss would kill us if you didn't trust us now. It's over. They're dead. All of them. You're safe. Slowly, Sophie opened the door. Vincent and Carlo stood there, both sporting minor injuries, both looking grim. Where's Marcus? Still at the warehouse, but he's fine. Marchetti's dead. His organization's done. It's over. The relief was so intense it made her knees weak. Sophie sank down, pulling Lily close, and for the first time in 2 weeks, she let herself cry. It took Marcus another hour to finish cleanup and get back to the penthouse. He burst through the door like a storm, his eyes scanning until they found Sophie and Lily curled together on the couch. You're okay. It came out somewhere between a statement and a prayer. They tried to get to us, Sophie said, standing. Your men stopped them. Marcus crossed to Vincent and Carlo, his expression unreadable. Then he did something Sophie had never seen. He pulled both men into a brief, fierce embrace. Thank you, truly. After his men departed, Marcus turned back to Sophie. It's done. Marchetti's dead, his operations dismantled. Everyone who knew about you is either dead or running scared. You're safe now. Truly safe. So we can leave? Sophie's voice was carefully neutral. If that's what you want. The words clearly cost him. I meant what I said. You're free to choose your own life now. I'll set you up with a safe apartment, a job if you want one separate from me, security until you're sure the threat is gone. Whatever you need. Lily looked between them, her little face confused. But I don't want to leave. I like it here. I like Marcus. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. Baby, this isn't our home. But it could be, Lily said with the simple wisdom of children. Marcus said if we wanted to stay, we could. Right, Marcus. He crouched down to Lily's level. I did say that, and I meant it, but that's your mom's choice, not mine. Why can't we stay? Don't you like us? I like you both very much. Then why would we leave? Lily looked genuinely confused. Sophie covered her face with her hands, overwhelmed. Lily, go play in your room for a few minutes. The grown-ups need to talk. After Lily reluctantly left, Sophie paced to the windows, staring out at the city. You're giving me a choice. Yes. A real choice. Stay or go. Yes. And if I stay, it's because I want to, not because I need to. That's the idea. She turned to face him. That's terrifying. Why? Because needing to stay was easier. It removed the responsibility. But wanting to stay? That means admitting what I feel. That means being vulnerable. That means trusting you with everything. My heart, my daughter, my future. Marcus moved closer, careful not to crowd her. I'm terrifying? You're terrifying. This is terrifying. The idea that I could fall in love with a man like you, that I could build a life in your world, that I could risk everything on... She stopped, realizing what she'd said. Say that again. Which part? The part about falling in love. Sophie's cheeks flushed. I said could fall in love. Conditional. Hypothetical. Liar. She laughed despite herself, the sound watery. Fine, I'm falling in love with you. Possibly already have fallen in love with you. Which is insane because it's been 2 weeks, and you're a crime boss, and this is the most impractical, ridiculous, impossible situation. And yet, when I think about leaving, about taking Lily and going back to our old life, all I feel is grief. Because that life doesn't have you in it. That life doesn't have these dinners where you and Lily gang up on me about trying new foods. That life doesn't have you reading her bedtime stories with all the funny voices. That life doesn't have you looking at me like I'm something precious. That life is smaller and lonelier, and I don't want it anymore. Marcus closed the remaining distance, pulling her into his arms. Then don't take it. Stay here. Be with me. Let me love you the way you deserve. Let me be a father to Lily, because God knows I've already fallen for that little girl. Let me give you everything. Safety, security, a home, a future. Your world is dangerous. My world is what I make it. And I'm choosing to make it a place where you and Lily thrive. Sophie looked up at him, searching his face. You mean it. All of it. Every word. This is crazy. The best things usually are. She kissed him then, pouring everything she felt into the contact. Hope and fear and love and trust. When they broke apart, both were smiling. So we're doing this? Sophie asked. We're doing this. I have conditions. Of course you do. Lily never sees anything illegal. She gets a normal childhood as much as possible. School, friends, activities. Your business stays separate from our home life. Done. I want to finish my degree. Accounting, like I planned. I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it with the salary I earn working for you. Stubborn woman. You wouldn't want me any other way. Marcus kissed her again. You're right, I wouldn't. And one more thing. What's that? Eventually, when we're ready, when Lily's ready, I want more kids. I want the family I always dreamed of. Something shifted in Marcus's expression, softening it. I want that too. All of it. 6 months later, Marcus threw a party at his estate, a massive affair that brought together both his legitimate business associates and, in carefully separate circles, his less legal connections. The stated purpose was celebrating the opening of his newest restaurant. The real purpose was making a very public declaration. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced from the terrace overlooking the gardens, Sophie at his side in a stunning green dress that matched her eyes. I want to introduce you to someone very important. This is Sophie Morgan, my girlfriend and the woman who's changed my life. And this, he gestured to where Lily was playing with Vincent's daughter, is her daughter, Lily, who's taught me more about courage in 6 months than I learned in 32 years. The crowd applauded, but Marcus wasn't finished. Sophie, I know we agreed to take this slow. I know you wanted time to be sure, but I've never been more sure of anything in my life. He dropped to one knee, producing a velvet box. You walked into my world by accident and turned everything upside down. You challenged me, changed me, made me want to be better. You and Lily gave me a reason to build a future instead of just maintaining an empire. So I'm asking, here in front of everyone who matters in my life, will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband and Lily's father? Will you build this life with me? Sophie's eyes filled with tears, but she was smiling. You're doing this here? Now? In front of all these people? I want everyone to know that you're mine and I'm yours. No ambiguity, no doubt. She laughed through her tears. You're absolutely insane. Is that a yes? That's a yes, you ridiculous man. Yes, I'll marry you. The crowd erupted in cheers as Marcus stood and kissed her, and Sophie thought about how 2 weeks that started with terror had somehow led to this. A life she'd never imagined, with a man she'd never expected, full of love she'd thought she'd never find. When they broke apart, Lily came running over. Does this mean Marcus is going to be my daddy for real? Marcus scooped her up. If that's okay with you. I already told everyone at school you were my dad, Lily admitted. They didn't believe me because you have tattoos and look scary. I do look pretty scary, Marcus agreed seriously. But you're not scary. You're nice. You make Mommy smile, and you do the voices when you read stories, and you promised you'd teach me to ride a bike. All true. So yes, you can be my daddy for real, but only if you promise to always keep us safe. Marcus met Sophie's eyes over Lily's head, his expression intense with emotion. Always. For the rest of my life, I promise. And Marcus Romano always kept his promises. The wedding took place 3 months later in the gardens of his estate. It was a small affair, close friends, family, and the people who mattered most. Lily was the flower girl, taking her role very seriously as she scattered petals down the aisle. As Sophie walked toward him, Marcus felt something he'd never experienced before. Complete peace. Not the absence of danger, because his world would always have elements of that, but the certainty that whatever came, they'd face it together. You look beautiful, he murmured when she reached him. You look pretty good yourself, Mr. Romano. Ready to become Mrs. Romano? I've been ready since a 5-year-old girl walked into your club, and you proved that sad eyes do understand hurt. The ceremony was simple, but profound. When they exchanged rings, Marcus added something not in the standard vows. I promise to protect you, honor you, and love you for the rest of my life. I promise to be the father Lily deserves, and the husband you need. I promise that my world will always have room for your light. And I promise that every day I'll work to be worthy of the gift you've given me, your trust, your love, your future. Sophie's own addition was just as heartfelt. I promise to stand beside you, to be your partner in everything. I promise to trust you even when it's hard. To love you even when you're being stubborn and overprotective. I promise to build this life with you, to raise our children together, and to never stop seeing the good man behind the dangerous reputation. When they kissed as husband and wife, the cheers echoed across the estate, and in that moment, both of them knew that what had started in tragedy and terror had transformed into something beautiful and lasting. Over the following years, they built a life that balanced Marcus's complex world with the normalcy Sophie insisted upon. Lily thrived, secure in the love of two parents who adored her. The accounting degree Sophie earned led to her taking over all of Marcus's legitimate business operations, her sharp mind and attention to detail making them even more profitable. And when their son was born 2 years after the wedding, followed by a daughter 2 years after that, Marcus proved what Sophie had always known, that beneath the ruthless exterior was a man capable of extraordinary love. He never fully left his world, but he did reshape it. The violence became more controlled, more strategic, always kept far from his family. The empire he built became something he could eventually pass down to his children if they chose it, or sell off if they didn't. But the most important thing he built was a home, not just a physical place, but a feeling, a refuge, a family.